I'm 18 and still live with my parents. My work is tiring, and my relationship with my parents isn't great. I feel stressed all the time. Mom and I argue a lot, and everything seems chaotic. I really needed a break, so I found a nice place on Airbnb in the mountains in Troutdale, Virginia. It looked peaceful in the pictures, especially with fall coming. When I told my parents about my plan, Mom surprisingly encouraged me to go, but my girlfriend thought it was strange that I wanted to go alone to a random cabin. Friday came, and I packed my clothes, laptop, and toiletries in a backpack for the trip. Troutville was really calm, not like the busy place I live. I drove on a bumpy road until my GPS said, "You're here." The cabin was on a hill, small and cute. When I got out of the car, I breathed in the clean country air, which made me feel really happy. The owner left the key, and inside, it was cozy. There was a little kitchen, a bathroom, and a bedroom upstairs with a neat round window. The cabin was all surrounded by trees, so it felt really private. I went for walks on some paths nearby and enjoyed the quiet and peaceful area. Something weird happened. Two guys stared at me in a creepy way on the road. Then, when I went out again, they quickly ran into the woods like they didn't want me to see them. It felt strange, but I didn't worry too much. I thought they were just acting strangely. Later, when I was driving to get food, I saw those same guys running into the woods again. It made me feel really scared. I texted the owner and asked about it, and he said it's normal, just local teenagers hanging around. I tried not to think about it and went to Walmart to buy groceries. When I got back to the cabin, it was really dark, no lights around, no neighbors. It felt creepy. Inside, the only light was from the fireplace. I was reading when suddenly the power went out. I tried texting the owner again, but got no response. The place felt scary, and I was scared to go outside to check the power. Then, I heard a noise and saw a dark figure asking for my things, a thief. I was really scared and just gave him what little I had. I was shaking with fear. He told me to stay in the kitchen, and when he left, I quietly called 911. The police came, but all they could do was promise to look out for those guys I'd seen earlier. I told the person who owns the place about what happened, hoping they'd understand, but they didn't want to give my money back. It was really scary, and I started thinking maybe the person who looks after the place had something to do with it because I didn't know how that other person got in. The next week, the police got in touch with me to ask more questions. They went to the Airbnb, asked the owner some things, and looked around for any hints. They said they'd keep looking into it, but it's hard because there isn't a lot of proof. The Airbnb looked great in the pictures, a cozy living room, a small kitchen, a bathroom, and a cute bedroom with a round window letting in sunlight. But some scary things happened there that made the whole stay bad. It was far away, I met weird people, and the power suddenly went out. What was meant to be a relaxing weekend turned into a really scary time. I'm glad I got out safely, but it really shook me up. It made me think twice about going on trips alone. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. Me and my buddy, Jake, were all set for a friend's wedding in Wyoming. They picked this tiny town, making it a bit tricky for everyone else. We found this neat Airbnb nearby and hopped into Jake's car, crossing a few states to reach the middle of Wyoming. The town was mostly farms, with just a tiny spot for groceries. Our Airbnb was this farmhouse, all by itself with loads of land. Inside, it was cozy, nothing too fancy, just perfect for a couple of nights. We hung out all day and talked a lot. We went to bed around 11 p.m. The place felt a bit creepy because it was far away from everything. I eventually fell asleep. The next day was the wedding, and we came back pretty late, around 9 or 10 p.m. Jake fell asleep quickly, but I stayed in the living room. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door very late at night, which scared me a lot. I looked outside, but no one was there. I thought it might be a strange sound from the house. Then, there was another knock, but this time from the back of the house. I checked, but still, no one was there. It made me even more scared. I looked out the window for about 5 minutes to try to relax, but the backyard and forest seemed spooky in the dark. There was something strange about the farmhouse that made me uncomfortable. I stayed awake for a while longer, checking to make sure nothing weird was happening. Eventually, I fell asleep. Suddenly, a knock on my bedroom door woke me up in a hurry. I asked Jake what was wrong, and he seemed really scared. He said he saw someone moving around outside his window. Then, we heard clicking noises at the front door. We were really scared and worried. Jake called the police when someone tried to break into the place where we were staying. I held the door closed while we both went into a room and locked it until the police arrived. When they came, they searched but couldn't find the person. The police asked us questions and looked for clues, but there wasn't much to help them. The place we were staying in was an old-fashioned farmhouse with old floors and furniture. It felt nice and comfortable, but being far away from other houses made it a bit scary. After the police went away, we looked around, but sleeping was hard. We got scared by every tiny noise. The next day, we packed our things fast. The person who owned the Airbnb felt bad about what happened and said they'd make it safer. When we left, I still felt spooked. The place used to be calm, but now it felt like a scary movie. Dealing with that stranger was like being in a really scary movie, and I never want to feel that scared again. Sure, here's a simpler version of that passage. At the wedding, everything was wonderful. Our friend looked great, the decorations were beautiful, and everyone was happy. But after a spooky night at the Airbnb, the good feeling from the wedding didn't last. The police came back to look into things more, but they couldn't find any clues. They searched around and asked people, but it seemed like the guy had just vanished. It was all very weird. Despite all that, I'm just happy we left there safely. The Airbnb used to be nice, but now, it's a memory I'd rather not think about. That stranger made it feel like a scary dream. Lily and I planned a trip to Vermont for a long time. Finally, in the summer of 2016, we got to go. We found a cabin on Airbnb that was in the middle of nowhere, no electricity, just deep in Vermont. People said great things about it, so I thought it would be fun. The cabin was like something from a fairy tale, old-fashioned and cute. It had a special stove and a cozy loft, perfect for a small vacation. We got there around 4 p.m. and checked out every part of the place. We spent the evening cooking, laughing, and playing games by candlelight. By 10 p.m., we were tired from hiking. Lily went to bed in the loft, and I sat outside for a smoke, enjoying how peaceful it was at night. All of a sudden, there was a loud bang on the cabin wall. Lily yelled, thinking it was me, but it wasn't. We thought it might be a tree branch hitting the cabin, so we didn't worry too much. Then, it happened again, but this time on another side of the cabin. Lily got scared, which made me feel uneasy too. We heard weird scraping sounds and whispers that made us feel really scared. We're used to camping, but this felt strange and made us uncomfortable. Our car was parked far from the cabin, and it was really dark outside. We were both scared to go out because we thought someone might be hiding. I stayed downstairs with a big knife while Lily took some sharp knives and went back upstairs. The cabin had huge windows, so we felt like others could see us. I shouted, hoping the person outside would go away, but they didn't stop making scary noises. It felt like a really long time. We were too scared to move, just waiting for the sun to come up. We heard scary sounds all night and couldn't sleep. We hugged each other, scared of what might happen. But nothing did. We didn't see anyone or hear any talking, just the spooky noises. When morning came, the scary sounds stopped. We packed up fast, feeling both glad and worried. We looked around but didn't find anything strange, just remembering how creepy the night was. After we got home, we wanted to tell someone. We called the local police to tell them. They sounded interested and said they'd check it out. A few days later, the police called us. They checked the cabin and the area around it, but they didn't find any signs that something bad happened. No one broke in, and there were no footprints or anything unusual. It seemed like the scary night we had was just in our heads. The person who rented the Airbnb to us didn't make things clearer either. They said it could have been a porcupine. Lily and I couldn't believe it. It felt like we were in a strange story with no real answer. After all that happened, we felt really nervous. We couldn't stop feeling worried. Lily thought maybe someone nearby was playing a joke, but I couldn't think of any explanation at all. Even though something scary happened, we didn't want it to stop us from enjoying new places. We kept traveling, but were more careful about where we stayed. That night in the cabin was strange and spooky. We still don't know what caused those scary sounds. It's a mystery that we think about a lot. We're glad nothing bad actually happened in that isolated Vermont cabin.